I joined Hong Kong University in year 2000, and at that time my colleagues and I were interested in, how come Hong Kong has all these Japanese things, and when and how all these Japanese things came into Hong Kong, and that was the question we were interested in. So as a pilot study, I started asking people, tell us about your memories of things Japanese. What was the first Japanese thing that you had, you felt attached to? And then when I was asking this question, rice cooker kept coming up about the stories in 1960. And it made me wonder why, how come rice cookers? Because I'm Japanese, and we are really, we have this thing called 3 sacred treasures in Japan. Around that time in the late 1950s and early 1960s, in Japan, people had, when they had a washing machine, when they had a refrigerator, and when they had a black and white television, they felt like they are not poor anymore. They felt like they are part of middle class. And rice cooker was invented in 1955, but not really talked about with that importance in Japan. And so I was wondering why people kept on talking about rice cookers. For example, this rice cooker is really very interesting. This one has a little glass lid in the middle of the lid. This was inserted in 1961. Before that, the Japanese rice cookers all had a solid aluminum lid without any glass viewing pane. But William Mon, who is and who was a CEO of the sole agent of National Panasonic, Shunhin, in here, said that, Chinese people would like to look inside of the rice cooker. To be able to get the timing of lapchon sausage, like when to put lapchon sausage right, they would appreciate to have a glass viewing pane. And so Japanese engineer heard the idea of putting this glass viewing pane to find out when exactly to open the lid. They went, wow, because for Japanese, opening any lid during the cooking process of rice is a totally alien concept, because we never ever open a lid when cooking. It turns out that this glass viewing pane was very reassuring for a lot of people, because when people had never ever seen a cooker or a pot that cooks without any heat. There's no heat, you plug it in and then it cooks. That was such a new concept for a lot of people. So when this rice cooker began to globalize to other countries, begin to go to other countries such as Singapore, Thailand, or many other East Asian countries and Southeast Asian countries, you cannot really impose Japanese idea of perfectly cooked rice on other people, because everybody take pride in their own way of cooking, and everybody has different ways of cooking rice around the world. And so what National Panasonic was able to do was to listen to the voices of local people, and then able to adapt their technology, and then respecting the thinking behind their own rice. The role of William Mon and Hong Kong was that made National Panasonic people realize that they have to be really very adaptable. You have to be versatile, and you have to be really, really adaptable to be able to create a product that would appeal to local people. I think that was the lesson that National Panasonic team learned as early as 1960. When you think about it, it's 1960. In 1960, not many Japanese companies were thinking about making products that would appeal to Chinese people. They were constantly thinking about making products that would appeal to Americans. But they were not really thinking about Chinese people yet, because still America was such a big market, United States was, but Hong Kong is relatively a small market. But in the end, it became successful because they were able to adapt the rice cooker for Hong Kong, working with William Mon. they learned how to adapt the technology for local use. That way, they were able to apply the same principles to markets in other parts of the world, such as Iran.